It looks like one person still trying to join, but we'll go ahead and get started this morning. Thank you for attending today's overview of the septic applications in Momentum. My name is Susan Threed. I'm Program Chief with Environmental Engineering and Policy Program with the Health Department. And today we're going to go over the overview to show you how to submit applications in Momentum. This session is being recorded and it will be available for you to view afterwards. But because we're recording it, we'd like for you to hold all your questions until the end. At that point, if you have a question, you can raise your hand and we'll take you off mute and try to answer any questions that you have. Thank you. And now I'll give it over to Varun Sengupta. He is with Limbic Systems, and he's going to walk you through the process.
Thank you, Susan. Hello, everyone. Like she said, I'm Varun. I'm going to walk you through what a permit application is going to look like in Momentum. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So I'm going to start from the very beginning, and this is going to be your Momentum homepage. This is where you're going to, once you create an account, log in and manage your permit applications in Momentum. So here, obviously, if you have an account, you can log in here with your credentials. For those of you that don't have an account yet, you can go through this create a profile process here. And then this is going to be how you create and activate your account that then you can use going forward for all of your permit applications in Momentum. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here. And when I log in, it's going to take me to what's called my dashboard. This is going to be the first page that you see when you log in. All of your applications are going to be on this page. Any applications you've submitted, any applications you've started, any permits that have been issued, all of your records are going to be shown on this page. So there's a few options. You're going to be able to filter by all or last 30 days. In terms of how many records you want to see on your dashboard. You see this one. This account that I'm on doesn't have any records yet, but I will show you what it looks like once we get one submitted to have an application here. You also have some filtering options on the left. So this just, if you end up, once you start getting a lot of applications on your dashboard, this lets you search and filter your dashboard for whatever specific records you're looking for. At the top here, you see we're here. This is where we are right now, my dashboard. This is going to be your home page. This is what you see when you first log in. Again, this is going to be how you manage all of your existing records. To apply for an application, we're going to go to apply here. And this is where we're going to start any Momentum application. So you see you have a list of all the available licenses and permits in Momentum. For this, we're going to be talking about the septic permit. So we're going to come all the way to the bottom for wells and septic. And then it's going to say on-site sewage disposal system. So this is where the septic permit application is going to be submitted. For the case type, it's going to be either commercial or residential first. So for the purpose of this demo, we're going to go ahead with the residential. And then the permit type is going to be either new construction, remodel, or upgrade. So you do have to select first on-site sewage disposal system on the previous page, and then commercial or residential, and then new construction, remodel, or upgrade here. You'll be required to select an address here. So I'm going to click this add address / location button. Again, this is required for all applications to select an address from the system that the work will be taking place on. So when I click that add address button, it's going to pull up this address search box here. So I can search just by the street number and street name like this. I don't need to put anything else in. As long as I put the street number and street name in, I can search. And it's going to pull up all the results for that address that I'm searching. Again, just the street number and street name is required. I don't need to put in the suffix or anything like that. I'm going to select the address, and now I'm going to click save and continue. So the second page here is going to be the actual application forms. This is going to be the information that I'm filling out for the permit application. So the first step is going to be the contact the registered wastewater operator. So we're going to fill out all of the fields here, as required. So have you selected a registered wastewater professional? Say yes or no, and I can put my information in here. Notice some of the fields have a red asterisk. Obviously, that means that those are required fields. Okay, so I'm going to fill all of my information out here for this permit application. So this section, we call E-Plan contact form. This is for you to enter the information, like it says, for the person who's going to be managing E-Plan. This is the person who's going to have access to the project, and E-Plan is going to be uploading plans to E-Plan and is going to be the one responding to comments in E-Plan, and they're going to get the invitation. So the point of this is that this could be someone different than who's submitting the application in Momentum. If it is, then you can put that information in here. Or if it's the same, you put your information. But this is going to be who's responsible for managing E-Plan. So we're going to put that information in there. And then specifically for residential applications, there's going to be some questions here that we need to answer. As an example, if there's no basement, I can put NA here. I don't have to put a number, but you see these are required, so you will have to put something in those fields. Okay, we have more questions here. Again, the one with the red asterisks are required. But you will want to, answer any questions that you know the answer to. And your application may be sent back for corrections if there's any additional questions that reviewers have once they receive it. So we're going to go ahead and answer each of these questions. Existing use, we can say residential, single family. And we're going to put our scope of work, which is a text box just to describe the work that we're doing. So I'll say new septic system. And then at the bottom here, we have the attestation. This is just the last step in the process for you to sign your name with the disclaimer and attestation here. There is a link here that takes you to the D5 fee schedule, the Prince George's County fee schedule, to see any information about the fees you can expect to pay for this application that you're submitting. So there's a link directly here for that. Okay, we come back here. So now that I've filled out all the information on this page, I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Continue. And this next page is just going to be a review page. So this is basically for me to go through all my answers one last time, make sure that I'm good with everything that I've submitted here. And at the bottom of this page is going to be a submit button. I can also go back if I see anything I want to fix. I can click this back button to return to that previous page and change anything before I submit. I'm going to go ahead and submit here. And so at this point, I'm going to get an application number assigned to my application. So you see in this case, any septic application is going to start with OS for on-site sewage disposal system, and then followed by a 5-digit sequence number, and then the year that it was submitted. So this is my application number. Now my submission process has not been completed yet, so it's not going to be reviewed yet. There's a second step that I need to do. So before I do that, I could click onto this hyperlink here, but I want to show you what this looks like from my dashboard now that I have a record here. So let me filter this. So this is the record that I just submitted. So you see it shows up on my dashboard when I show here, and I can see some quick information from here before clicking into it. This is the application type that we submitted. This is sort of like a current status or what needs to happen right now. So you can see it's kind of giving me instructions. Click on the app number hyperlink to upload required documents. This is the address that I selected earlier. This is the application number, of course, and then some details about what I submitted. So we submitted a residential new construction. and then the status. So you see I have one pending task here in red. Anytime there's something that you need to take care of in Momentum, it's waiting for you to do, you're going to see a red pending task link here. And you're also going to get an email notification letting you know that you have a pending task and what that task is. And then some quick dates here. So this is when the application was submitted, and then later when it gets issued, expired. This is when these dates are going to be filled in here. If I had any fees due at any point, they'll show up on the right here as well. So like it says here, I can click on this application and I'll see that I have a pending task here. Again, I did get, anytime I get a pending task in Momentum, I will also get an email letting me know. So our pending task here is to complete the applicant checklist. As we can see, the status is waiting on customer, so it's not going to be reviewed until I complete the applicant checklist. It says here, you must complete the applicant checklist to begin the review process. So you see here a new section has been added, and we need to edit this section. And there's some information that we need to enter about this application, related to this application before we could be reviewed. So each of these rows need an answer here before we can say we've completed the applicant checklist and save. So to answer each question, we're going to click this pencil next to each row, and we're going to give an answer for this specific question. So I have a building permit application. I'll say yes. I'll say the permit is issued, and I can put the permit number in here. So again, this is an answer has to be given for each row here. You can say no or not applicable as well. So we're going to go through every single row and give an answer for that option. Yes. And this will help the reviewer make sure that you're prepared for the septic permit that you're going to be obtaining here. I have a well permit. Let's say yes. Application submitted. Okay, now that I have completed the checklist, I'm going to check this box. I'm going to click save. So this, at this point, is when my application is actually going to be submitted for review. And we're going to see the status is now open and the current milestone is now at application pre-screening. So again, if I go back to my dashboard, you can see I no longer have a pending task, so I know this task is not with me, it's with the staff to review now. So now we're waiting for staff to review our application. Like I said earlier, it is possible at this pre-screening stage that they may request corrections or additional information from you before completing the pre-screening process. So if I refresh here, now I'm going to see that staff have reviewed my application and they have actually returned it back to me for additional information. Again, I have a pending task. That means I just got an email notification from Momentum as well, telling me I now have a pending task that I need to complete before my application can move forward in the process. So again, I have a red one pending task here. It's returned for information, and I can open this to see the instructions for what I need to do and complete my task. So anytime you have a pending task, you're going to see red sort of instructions up here telling you exactly the steps that you need to take to complete that pending task. So here we're going to look at this request for documents section, as it says. So that's going to tell me what's the requested information from the reviewer. So you can see the reviewer has given me some comments that I need to fix on my application. And so next to each section that we submitted, we can click edit and update the information as requested from our reviewer. So if I open each of these, I can see what I had originally submitted, and I can make the changes based on what the reviewer has asked me to do. So for example, I can change this. If I had given the wrong category initially, I'll change this and save it. Now you do need to save each section individually if you make any changes to that section. And then, like it says in the instructions here, once we've completed all the changes that we need to do that the reviewer has asked of us, we can come back to the request for documents section and say, okay, I'm ready to submit. I made all the changes that I need to. And then if there's any comments I have for my reviewer, I can put them here for them to see. I may have a question, or I may just say all changes made, and then I can save this. And so when I complete that section, that's going to actually resubmit the application, and you see it's back at pre-screening. So again, this could happen a few times if there's more issues that the reviewer finds with your application before they can move forward. But this is how those sort of review cycles are going to happen at application pre-screening in Momentum. Okay. So we're going to come back to our dashboard here. Again, we're at pre-screening, no pending task for us. So we're just sort of waiting. Doesn't mean you have to watch this again. Anytime you have a pending task, you are going to get an email notification from Momentum. So now we're just waiting for our reviewer to complete our pre-screening task so we can move forward in the process. So now application pre-screening has been approved, and you'll see now I have filing fees due. So these are the fees. Like I said, if we had looked earlier at the fee schedule, we would have known that these are the fees that we're going to end up having to pay for this application. Uh, Anytime you have fees due, you can see an unpaid balance right here on the right on your dashboard. So we have $726 unpaid balance, and we could click here to go ahead and pay those. If you want to see more detailed information about the fees, you can always click into the application. And if we scroll down here, we can see a specific description of each fee line item that's being charged for this. So we have administrative fee, residential permit fee, and then a technology fee. So this is, you can always see, anytime you have fees due, you can see a breakdown of this. And there's also an invoice that can be generated at any time by going to this My Documents link here. And then there's an invoice that you can download with that will show the breakdown of the fees as well, if you need a PDF invoice. So to pay, I'm going to come through here and I'm going to click on this pay balance button, and that's going to take me to the payment portal. It'll take me to a new tab in the payment portal, and that's where I'm going to go ahead and pay these fees online. So for the purpose of this demo, we will bypass that. But again, once if I click this button, it would go to the payment portal and go through the payment process. All right, and now that I have paid the fees, um, we can always see a history of the fees here. So you can see total $726, and I can see a payment history here. My unpaid balance is now $0. And it's now waiting on the customer again. So now is when we are going to go to ePlan. So at this point, the project has been created in ePlan for me to upload my plans. So I'm going to get an email from ePlan with an invitation. Remember, the email is going to go to whoever I added as the ePlan contact here. And that's who's going to get the ePlan upload task at this point. If I go back to my dashboard, I will see that it's out to the applicant here, and we have a plan. The task is going to be, however, completed in ePlan. Again, all document review, all document uploads are happening in ePlan still, not in Momentum. Okay, so I'm going to go to ePlan and log in as my applicant. Again, I just got an email letting me know that I have a task to do. And here's my applicant upload task here. So when I open my application, I'm going to complete my applicant upload task. So the ePlan part, for those of you who have been submitting, applications and going through the ePlan process, this shouldn't be any different to you. You should be very familiar with this. For those of you who have used it before. So this part is, Momentum works together with ePlan in an integrated process. So this should look the same, very familiar to you in terms of uploading to the folders. So I can upload to the folders that I need to here, and I can select files, upload, and then I'll say my upload task is complete and complete my upload task. So again, this is the same upload task that you guys are used to completing in ePlan. So again, anytime I want to see the status of my application, current status, I can come back here. Um, it will show a pending task here if I have one. This one obviously doesn't have a pending task. It's now at application review. So we're sort of going through the review process now. And so that will be happening, and we're going to just basically wait for that to happen here. And we can always see what the current status and current milestone is here. Any re-uploads that we may need to do in ePlan, any comments that we receive, like always, we'll be getting email notifications from ePlan, and we can always log in here to see the current status in ePlan. But the statuses will match in Momentum and ePlan. The two systems will stay in sync, so you don't need to check two different systems. If you just want to look here, you can always see what the current status is. So now application review is complete, and now I can see I'm in plan review again. I refresh and I can see what the current milestone is. So we're going through plan reviews now. So during plan reviews, like any other review, there could be an ask for a re-upload in multiple review cycles. So we would be going through that in ePlan if needed. So again, I'm getting emails from ePlan letting me know as I'm progressing through the reviews. Now, after all reviews are done, depending on how many review cycles I may have gone through, for the fee schedule that we talked about earlier, there may be resubmittal fees that I have to pay after going through the review process if I've gone through multiple review cycles with resubmittals required. So in this case, we didn't do any resubmittals. So now we're going to be waiting for ePlan final approval. So again, we're just waiting for the reviewers to complete that task as one of the final steps in the permit issuance process. All right, if I refresh, now you're going to see it's going to move to, now we're at issuance review. And what we're going to do, so the reviewers, reviewing the final steps of this and completing the issuance of your permit. And so the permit is going to be made available in Momentum, and the approved plans are going to be made available in ePlan as always. So you will have to get the permit from Momentum and the approved plans from ePlan. So at the time of the permit being issued, we're going to get an email, of course, again, letting us know that the permit has been issued. And in Momentum, we're going to click into our application, and we're going to see that the permit is going to be available in the attachment section at the bottom here. So this attachment section is always here. Once you get an email letting you know that the permit has been issued, you can come down to this attachment section, and this is where you can download the PDF of the actual permit document. Again, this is only the permit. The approved plans are going to be available in the approved folders here in ePlan as always. Okay. So once the permit is issued, the first step is going to be the pre-construction meeting. This meeting, of course, needs to happen prior to any actual work happening with the new septic system or any septic work. There's some instructions here in terms of who to contact to complete the pre-construction meeting for new construction, a residential initial or upgrade, and then existing. This would be the phone number. So you can call these phone numbers to complete your pre-construction meeting. You work out a time with the inspectors when they will be able to actually complete that pre-construction meeting. So at this point, once we do that, the inspector is going to, you're going to meet with the inspector, complete the pre-construction meeting, and they are going to complete that task in Momentum so that now it's going to move forward to the in-construction milestone. So this means pre-construction meeting has been completed, construction can now start, and you're going to be going through the inspection process in Momentum. So inspectors are going to handle the inspections. So the first is going to be that initial inspection that they're going to complete. Again, so there's nothing for us to do here, but there's going to be an inspection being completed by inspectors at this point. And then there's going to be a final inspection also completed by inspectors. And once that final inspection is completed, so the work has been done, the final inspection has been completed, we're going to see this milestone move and the status move here. You do see some links here as well related to revisions and renewals. I won't go through the whole process here, but clicking this link will take you through basically the process of revising a permit. If there's any additions you need to make, edits you need to make to the application, to the permit, you can revise the permit here and it'll take you through the revision process. Or for renewals required, if for whatever reason the expiration date is getting up too close and you need a renewal, you can click the button right here to renew that permit. Okay. So if I refresh here, we're going to see now that since my permit has been finalized, the work has been completed, the permit's going to be closed and completed. So that's basically the end of the process. You're going to see that the dashboard filters out the closed applications by default. So if I need to, I can always search for them here. But that's the end of basically the permit process in Momentum, from submitting all the way to your inspection being completed here. All right, so I will toss it back to Susan. I don't know if we have any questions, or if you want to go around the room and raise their hands if anybody has questions about anything they saw.
Thank you, Varun. We had a few questions. I was trying to answer them in the chat and they started coming in a little quicker. But I'll go over the ones that did come in for anyone who hasn't seen them. First question was, what is the difference between a remodel and upgrade? And an upgrade is increasing the square footage of the existing building, which requires changes to the septic system. And a remodel is replacing a failed system or replacing parts of the system that changes the design of the original system, but not upgrading the size of the house or building. The second question we had is, how do you submit an application for septic permit renewal, as in the existing permit has expired and needs to be renewed? So our septic permits can only be renewed before the expiration date, and that's for a 6-month period. And the permit expires if the permit expires, you have to apply for a new permit.
Yeah,
And I
and
think,
to answer
go
that, I
ahead.
think I showed briefly at the end, but I'll show here. So while your permit is in construction, let's say you need a renewal on this, the link will be right here on your dashboard to request that. And so this, all you have to do is click this link and then fill this out, just explaining why you need a renewal, and then that's how your renewal will be approved here. So you just need to click this link to request a renewal at any point.
So Susan, real quick, this Myra,
Go ahead.
for existing sewage disposal renewals, it has to be done in e-permits. So you would email the application to me or someone from my team, and we will manually put it in e-permits. So if you started an application in e-permits, it will end in e-permit. Going forward, once you start creating applications in Momentum, then they'll start and begin in Momentum. So if you're asking for a remodel on an existing case, it will be done the same way it was done before.
And Myra, can you introduce yourself to everyone?
Yes, my name is Myra Leonard. I am the DPI Health Plan Reviewer over in Department of Permitting Inspections Enforcement. And we typically deal with only new construction. So if it's a new home, we do the residential new construction, septic and well reviews, as well as upgrade. And Susan put in her comments the difference between what an upgrade is.
Thank you. And Environmental Engineering and Policy Program, which is the program that I represent for the health department, does the remodels and commercial septic installations. All right, so the next question was, does this application only apply to on-site without connection to public sewer? And the answer is yes, this is for on-site sewage disposal system permits. Next question is, who prepares the septic drawing, and is there available information in DPI website for the approximate household and septic sizes? So the answer to who prepares the drawings, it would be an engineer or wastewater professional, such as a septic contractor. The available size of, so there's a guide on how to prepare septic drawings, but if you're asking about existing households, you can, in the same Momentum system, apply for an information request. And if we have any information on a particular property, we will give you that information. And if that's not what you were asking, just raise your hand or just put it back in the chat. Let's see. And then the next question is, I think we answered that about, is the septic permit renewal before it expires also submitted through Momentum? And Varun just showed you how to do that. And how do I request a transfer of an existing septic permit application on a property that I purchased? The previous owner started the process, but sold the property before completing the process. So the permit application is for 1 year. So if that permit, you would probably, the best thing for you to do is to contact our program, and then we can look at that, because there is no transfer of septic permits. However, if you're going to install what was submitted, then, and the application is, the permit is still valid, then we, I think, could accommodate that. So contact our office, and that's a case by case basis. Short answer for that one. All right, I have a couple of questions. Do documents have to go in specific folder on e-plans, similar how we submit SDFG docs? Is there a naming convention for the documents? Okay, so e-plans is the same. The applications that were submitted in e-permits and were processed in e-plans, now they're submitted in Momentum. They're still processed the same way in e-plans. And for those of you who, from our team, those of you who regularly review plans, if there's anything that needs to be added, jump in there. Is the naming convention, what is the naming? Is there a naming convention for the documents? I will let my team that regularly reviews plans jump in on that one. And I'm assuming you're talking about the documents that are being submitted in e-plans. So Dana Vega, if that's what you mean, just kind of drop something else in the chat. My team, is there a naming convention for documents in e-plans? And if you can't unmute, just drop something in the chat as well. So I'll move on to the next one. For the checklist, when do we need an MDE wastewater provider? Anyone who is working on any septic contractor, anyone working on plans should have a MDE wastewater provider number. And that is obtained by going to MDE, Maryland Department of the Environment's website, and registering. And when do you need pre-approval? Pre-approval, I'm not sure what that question is asking. And then when do we need perk test revalidation or validation? Perk tests are conducted, once perk tests are conducted, they're good for 3 years. After that, you would need to revalidate them. For a new project, how can we request perk tests previously done if you can submit, I'm sorry, let me finish reading it. For a new project, how can we request perk tests previously done if we don't have them already? You would go into Momentum and apply for information request. And the information request, there's no fee, but there's an administrative fee, but there's no fee for the actual request. And that's $66 administrative fee. If a system fails, is there assistance by the county for public sewer hookup? There is. We have something called the Bay Restoration Fund. Really doesn't have anything to do with this training here, but the Bay Restoration Fund is offered through the Maryland Department of the Environment and through Prince George's County. You can apply in Momentum for the Bay Restoration Fund. Offers up to $25,000 assistance based on the project that you have. All right, and Myra dropped in the existing sewage renewals contact information. Is there a pre-con meeting? Is the pre-con meeting a new requirement before the permit will be issued? And if a permit, okay, so no, the pre-con meeting is after the permit has been issued and before you start the work of putting in that on-site sewage disposal system. If a permit expires, will a new pre-con meeting need to take place? Yes, because, well, let me preface that. If the work has not been started, then yes, because we would not have even gotten to the pre-con meeting. But if the work has been started and then you have to renew in the middle of that, then no, I would think no. Okay. if we have to name septic plans and perk test in a specific, okay, I'm not. But I haven't gotten any input from my team on that one. And if they don't give me any, we'll get to you. We'll answer that question after this meeting. Let's see, pre-approval was just one of the. Varun, they're asking about pre-approval on the checklist. I don't remember that on the checklist. Do you know what they're talking about? Pre-approval on the checklist, we had to say yes or no.
Let me see.
I'll let him look for that. And what is the right time to apply for Bay Restoration Fund? You can apply for Bay Restoration Fund at any point. Sooner the better, because there are a number of steps in acquiring that grant and securing the grant. So I would say as soon as you know you are working on a project, or you have a overflowing system, or you're trying to connect to public sewer, then you apply right away.
So this item on the applicant checklist, I have health department pre-approval required for holding tank. I think that's what they were asking about.
Oh, for the holding tank, yeah. Yes, pre-approval is required for the holding tank. And that's the only thing that refers to, Varun.
Yeah, sorry, it specifically says required for holding tank for that item.
Yes, so it's just for a holding tank, that pre-approval. And yes, before you apply for a holding tank, you should have pre-approval from the health department. So if you haven't gotten that approval, you need to contact us before applying for that septic application for a holding tank. Any other questions? And Gerard or Tunde or Myra, the question about naming documents, do documents have to go in specific folders on e-plans?
So
I would say
Susan,
yes on that one. And is there a naming convention for the documents?
so the answer is yes, there is. When they get the e-permits, their plan review folders will look different than if they were used to doing building permit reviews. So the septic is different. And you don't have as many folders. So you're only going to have an environmental engineering folder, document folder, food protection folder. So yes, put it in the correct folder always. And secondly, if you don't put a naming convention on there, you can be resending the same drawings, and it won't show that those were revised. So usually with the building part, they usually, if it's architectural, of course, it'll be A1, A2, A101, A102. So with septic, I mean, you could name it as, septic 1, septic 2, but if you resubmit it, and we're going to look at the date something was submitted and assume that that's a revision. So to prevent from having multiple cases in there with the exact same drawing, we recommend that you do it. And I could send you recommendations, or Susan can email it through the invite list that she has, what those are.
Yep, we can do that. Thank you, Myra.
Well,
are there any other questions? If not, I just want to remind you that this recording will be made available. And as you apply for your septic applications, you can refer to the recording. Thank you for taking time out to join us in this overview. And thank you, Varun, for presenting. And with that, I'll just say thank you and have a great day.